Have you ever heard that saying, always a bridesmaid, never a bride? Always gushing about geeky conventions online, never been at a geeky convention. Howdy everybody, this is Carla. If you're wondering about the weird lighting, it's because I'm actually recording this at midnight. I'm already 2 days late with this recording due to a combination of work and never-ending thunderstorms. Thanks for that hurricane season. I'm already late with this video as it is, so I'm going to have to go a little bit fast just to try to make it shorter so that it's easier for editing and I can actually have it up on Friday. What I'm going to do in this video is talk about New York City Comic Con, which just happened this past weekend over at New York City. Obviously I wasn't there because I live in FreakingNarnia and I can't travel to New York that often, as you might imagine. Many of the panels have made their way online, and I just want to touch upon a little of what my favorite news out of the convention were, what my favorite trailers were, especially about my fandoms, their movies or TV, for example. So that's what I want to focus on, and I'm gonna try and go a little fast because I want this video to be shorter than usual so I can edit it on time, but still I want to touch upon a lot of fandom. Get ready, we're gonna talk Comic-Con, it's gonna be awesome. The first thing I want to mention that caught my attention was that there was a Captain Planet panel. If you're a child of the 90s like me, well, technically I'm a child of the 80s, but I did most of my formative years in the 90s, so if you're I basically consider myself a child of the 90s unofficially, and if you're a child of the 90s like me, you know what Captain Planet is, and you probably loved Captain Planet in all its environmentally preachy glory, but it's not really a series that would sort of deserve a full panel for it at Comic-Con. And then I found out that the panel existed because it's the 25th anniversary of the show. God damn it, I feel old. I feel really, really old right now. I just wanted to mention Captain Planet because I can't believe it's been 25 years. To this day, it's still one of my favorite cartoons of all time. I actually still go and read fanfiction for Captain Planet because, in case you didn't know, there is Captain Planet fanfiction on the web, and some of it is really damn good. Every once in a while, once the cycle hits that point, I go back and read some Captain Planet fanfiction, so it's always gonna have a special place in my heart, and I can't believe it's been 25 years already. Also, I just want to point out that every other year we get news that a Captain Planet live-action movie is being developed, and then they never go anywhere. I think the last time I heard anything about it was maybe 2 years ago. I haven't heard anything since. But goddamn it, Hollywood, I'm looking at you. Better make that live action Captain Planet movie because I know there's a way that it could be amazing. Again, the Captain Planet cartoon was preachy as all heck, and the kids were kind of really useless if you think about it, and the villains were stereotypical, but it was a huge part of our childhoods, and I know it can be done right in a way that actually makes it interesting. So Hollywood, please, I'm begging you, please make a Captain Planet movie as soon as humanly possible, please. It would be great. Other panels that I wanted to mention, and I'm just going to mention because I haven't really gone too in-depth on all that happened on these panels, is, for example, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel. I love Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., one of my favorite TV shows, but this season I decided that I prefer binge watching it at the end of the season, so I have not watched any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episodes this season. When the season ends, the run of the season ends, then I will binge watch them all and probably make a video about it, review them a little bit, whatever. But as of now, I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I do have to mention though that I've never been the biggest fan of Ghost Rider. I actually don't like Ghost Rider, and I already didn't like it even before the Nicolas Cage movies happened. So Ghost Rider's not my thing. When they announced he would be in this season of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was like, really, if you've ever thought of two things that don't fit together, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Ghost Rider are probably those things. So I'm not too enthused to actually watch the season, but I will once the season is done airing on TV. I will eventually, and then I will tell you guys what I thought. Maybe this version of Ghost Rider will actually win me over, who knows. Another typical fandom of mine that was at New York Comic Con was Doctor Who. Now, with Doctor Who, I haven't actually been watching Doctor Who for a long time. I stopped watching around the beginning of the Capaldi era. I'm not the biggest fan of Capaldi's take on the Doctor, honestly. The fact that he left the Musketeers to go to Doctor Who probably doesn't help, if I have to be honest. But I haven't watched Doctor Who in a while. I know they announced that they have a Christmas special coming out, and I know that they have a new companion now that Jenna Coleman is gone. And I know that they have a spin-off coming out called Class. I don't know anything about these things, honestly, and I don't know that I will watch them just because of Capaldi, really. I just don't like it. It doesn't feel like Doctor Who all that much when he is the Doctor. I don't know. Maybe it's just a weird thing for me, but I'm not his biggest fan in the character. So I haven't watched Doctor Who in a while, but I am aware of stuff that's happening. So maybe later on, in a few months or whatever, if I have nothing to do, I'll actually go back and watch it. Who knows? I just wanted to point out that yes, I do know that Doctor Who was at Comic-Con. I am aware a little bit of the things that went on in that panel. There was also a new Iron Fist trailer revealed. Now, I'm a fan of Marvel. Iron Fist is not one of my IPs as far as Marvel is concerned. I don't care about Iron Fist, and honestly, I don't really care about the Netflix series either. I haven't watched Luke Cage yet. I definitely do want to watch it because Luke Cage was one of my favorite parts of Jessica Jones. But I'm not as attached to these Netflix Marvel properties as you would think I am. I loved Jessica Jones. I can't wait to see Luke Cage, but I don't care about Daredevil. I haven't watched either Daredevil season. I will not watch The Punisher, and I don't really plan on watching Iron Fist either. I thought the trailer was cool in the sense that it was very martial artsy, and I like that because I appreciate sort of the art of the choreography that is put into these things, but I don't really care about Iron Fist. I probably won't watch it. I do know that they had the cast of the Defenders together in a panel. That was interesting because, again, I like Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, so I might as well watch the Defenders, I guess. So it's cool to see them all come together in a panel for the first time. That was interesting. They also had a panel for Legion, which didn't really reveal much of anything new. We already had the Legion trailer. I already spoke about it in my video over there. So if you haven't seen it, maybe check that out. But they did mention on the Legion panel that it's definitely in the same universe as the X-Men movies, which is something that has had people sort of going back and forth on whether it would be or not. It was already confirmed that it was now at New York Comic Con, and I think that's really good. They also mentioned, because I was wondering last time if they would actually go the route of David being Xavier's son, and apparently they mentioned that you can't really explain David without dealing with the issue of his father. So there might be some mentions, but they obviously haven't revealed if they're going to explicitly state it. I don't think they will, but I think it would be interesting if David is motivated in a way by the absence of his father, somehow maybe looking for him a little bit. That would be really interesting. So that also happened. There was another piece of news that is sort of tangentially related. It's got more to do with X-Men than Legion. And it's not actually a news that came out of Comic-Con proper, but it came out during Comic-Con weekend, so I'm going to include it in this video as well. And that is the fact that X-23 has been confirmed to be in the upcoming Wolverine movie, which is, now we know it's titled Logan. They actually released a poster for it as well. The poster is really cool, by the way. Logan's hands and the blades, and then the little girl grabbing him. If you guys haven't seen my video about X-Men Apocalypse and the mini but kind of really huge freak out I had when I realized that X-23 might actually be a possibility, then be sure to check that out. Guess what? Now it's been confirmed, and I'm freaking over the moon about it. Guys, everything I wanted from this movie is coming true. First, they were like kind of coy about it. They were like, oh yeah, it's a little girl that has 2 blades coming out of her hands instead of 3. And I'm like, that's X-23. And then a few days later, it's like, oh yeah, that's right, and her name is Laura. And I'm like, that's X-23. And then just like yesterday or something, they were like, oh, by the way, she's X-23. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I'm so excited that X-23 is going to be in these movies. I can't wait. I do hope that they use her as a replacement for Wolverine. Not that she's a replacement for anybody, really. But I do hope if they wanted someone, you know, with blades of the sort that Wolverine uses, X-23 is the perfect example, and then they can develop her from the ground up to make her another character that we know and love, like we have with all the characters in the X-Men franchise. I love Laura. I think Laura is an amazing character. I think she's got so many issues to deal with, and obviously in Wolverine 3, or Logan as it's called, it's going to be a little girl. But come on, they've already talked about bringing Cable into Deadpool 2, so I'm sure time travel is a possibility. Like, she can come back from the future and join like New Mutants or something. I would pay for that, and in fact I will pay for that because I will go watch every movie. Every X-Men movie ever made, I will go watch it. So hey, kudos Fox for finally taking advice and giving the people what they wanted, aka me. I'm happy. I'm so happy. I can't even tell you. Apart from the whole X-Men world, though, there were other panels that I was looking forward to. Speaking of parts of my childhood that I did not expect to come back, during Comic-Con, we got the official release of the Legends of the Hidden Temple movie. Which, mind you, when I first heard that they were making a Legends of the Hidden Temple movie, I was actually really excited. I'm like, this could be the new Indiana Jones. This could be awesome. I was really looking forward to it because Legends of the Hidden Temple was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid. It was fun. It gave kids sort of something to aspire to in the way of games, TV shows, and reality competitions and sort of like that. And it sort of had a backstory to it that we never really got to see, but it could be really rich. So I thought, hey, why not make a Legends of the Hidden Temple movie? That sounds cool. Then the trailer came out, and God, the trailer was awful. Oh god, it was so awful. I can't believe it. It's basically the game made into a movie, but without any updates whatsoever. It's like, it looks just like the game did in the 90s, and I don't know that passes the sniff test of several aspects that they should have modernized. The way we look at like indigenous stereotypes nowadays is not the same way we did in the 90s, and it looks borderline offensive, I must say. I mean, I can't blame them. It looks exactly like the game did in the 90s, but that was the 90s. They shouldn't have gone that way. Special effects look like crap. I understand that this is a Nickelodeon movie and it's not really meant to be like this big tentpole or anything. It looks terrible. I know for sure that I'm not even going to bother looking this thing up when it comes out. I don't know why they even bothered if they weren't going to do it the right way. Speaking of doing things the right way, though, another pillar of my childhood that got updated recently was Voltron. And Voltron, which is on Netflix, and it's amazing, so I really do hope that you guys should go check it out. But the second season is coming out at the end of the year, or early next year, I don't remember which one it is, but it's coming out soon, and they released a trailer for it, the first trailer we got. Guys, I can't even put into words how beautiful this show is. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and all the scenes that we saw in space, because the way we left it off, everybody's sort of separate, so we see a lot of lonely landscapes of space, and they're all so gorgeous. I love the way this show looks. I can't wait to see where they go from the cliffhanger that they left us with. They're obviously definitely pushing the Shiro Keith shippers. The trailer is basically like Keith looking for Shiro. That's all there is. desperately looking for Shiro. I smell like they want to give us a backstory, like they're going to sort of give us the backstory between Shiro and Keith, because we never got it. We knew that Keith left the academy to go look for Shiro, but we never really got the why. Like, how did they know each other? How did they become friends? Where did this bond come from? So I smell like they're going to give us that backstory, and it's going to be amazing, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see if Shiro makes it back. I can't wait to see if Shiro doesn't make it back, then what's going to happen to the Black Lion. Of course, if you saw the original Voltron, you probably have a general idea of what that will entail, but this is a reimagining, so I'm not entirely sure that they are going to go that way, so I can't wait to see it and be surprised. I'm really glad that the show is coming back because it's an amazing show and a beautiful one at that. So gorgeous. Oh, the animation of Studio Mirror is so incredible. I can't even tell you guys. If you have Netflix and haven't watched Voltron, go and watch it, it's fantastic. Another show of mine that's coming back for a second season is Shadowhunters. I've already talked about the first season of the show over here in this video, so if you like Shadowhunters, be sure to check that one out to hear my thoughts on the first season. But second season is coming out January 2nd. Now we finally have a date for it, and we don't have to wait all that much, which is awesome. I thought we were going to get it like mid-January or something. This season is going to come with 20 episodes, as I've mentioned before, which I think is great. And I do hope that maybe they incorporate a little bit of the third book as well, not just the second one. They had a panel, and then they also released a trailer and a couple of sneak peeks already. The trailer was great. I love those cityscapes. It reminds me that this series is actually taking place in a real city. It gives it back that urban fantasy feeling, and I really like that. I don't remember much of what happens in the second book. Like, I think in my head I only have a clear image of what happens at the climax of the book, like near the end. That I do remember, but I don't really remember all the events that led up to that point. So I watched the trailer and I wasn't sure if any of that stuff was actually in the book or if they had just added it for the TV show or what is going on. I know that Claire's mother wasn't there because she wasn't supposed to wake up yet. But apart from that, I don't really know. But I like the trailer. Again, it gives it that urban fantasy feel. And the sneak peeks were also pretty good. I especially like the one with Izzy and Clary practicing. The cinematography of that clip is very different from what the show gave us in the first season. In the first season, it started off with a weird cinematography, and then somewhere around halfway, right, maybe episode 5 or 6, there was a switch, and you could tell that they were paying much more attention to how they filmed scenes so that they looked more serious, they looked more mature, they had a bit of a different tone, and I like that. And I saw a lot more of that in that one sneak peek with Izzy and Clary. The way they shot that scene, it looked like a movie, and I love that. And I hear from a friend who was there at the panel that it has a lot to do with the new showrunners that have actually decided to take this show from like a fanish type show to an actual serious drama. She was really positive about it, so I feel really positive about it. She says she feels a lot more relieved with the new showrunners than she did with the previous ones, because it might not be the best book series ever, but it's got some amazing characters and some pretty good stories. So if they take the time to realize that, hey, this isn't just some YA thing that we're gonna do for as long as we possibly can to get some people watching, we can actually make a really good show out of this. I think if they put in that effort, Shadowhunters could be a really special thing. And I liked season 1, but I have a feeling that if they do it right, I could really love season 2, and I can't wait to see it. And last but not least, here's another piece of my past. The first trailer for Saban's Power Rangers movie was released at New York Comic Con, and they had a panel also with the cast. I have to admit, I have been crapping on the Power Rangers movie since day one. Not so much because it's the Power Rangers, because as I'm sure you've seen with all the other TV shows that I've mentioned, I'm the type that is very eager to see her childhood TV shows and books, etc. on the big screen. I love adaptations of my TV shows. I just get a joy of just seeing my favorite characters on the screen. So I don't necessarily mind that they're going back and mining early 90s properties for nostalgia's sake and then making them into movies. I don't mind that idea. Of course, there's always a little bit of fear that they could ruin my childhood entirely. There's always, like, that's always, my first reaction is always, oh my god, please don't ruin my childhood. But that usually goes away relatively quickly, and I'm always of the type, well, they try, and if they fail, I get angry for a long time, but I would still rather they try. When they announced the Power Rangers movie, I was like, okay, this could be really good, but also it could be really bad. I was into the idea, but taking it with a grain of salt. This was after that short starring Katie Sackhoff came out. Everybody was buzzing about it. It was such a great short that you could sort of see how they could take the concept of the Power Rangers and make it into something really, really good and serious and layered, even though the original series was goofy and campy. So I was like, okay, this could be fine. The thing that gave me pause, however, was the fact that it was Lionsgate who was making this movie. And I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I don't like Lionsgate. I probably shouldn't say that. It's not that I don't like them. I think they don't give their properties sort of the respect that they need. They go about it by the numbers a lot. And this is especially true of their big brand properties, the blockbusters that they're trying to push so that they can become one of the big studios, play with the big boys. I don't think they do it right. I think The Hunger Games was their one exception, and it was, I think that had more to do with the fact that The Hunger Games had some really quality producers and directorial talent behind it that really cared about the property. I think The Hunger Games was great in spite of Lionsgate. And now, don't get me wrong, Lionsgate does make a lot of really good indie movies. They are winning some cred with the awards crowd, and I think that's great for them. But I think when it comes to blockbusters, they don't quite have the grasp of it yet. So for every Hunger Games you get a Divergent, which the first movie was decent and then it went right down. So every time anybody tells me, oh, Lionsgate is making this and this movie, I already start freaking out. As much as I think they can do it and they can become one of the big players in the film industry, I think they still have some time to go before we get to that point. I hope the Divergent franchise sort of taught them a lesson when it came to that kind of stuff. Take your properties seriously. Don't treat them like it's just a bunch of garbage, because you're going to end up making garbage movies that people will not go see, and then you'll be left paying the price. So as much as I love The Hunger Games, it's the exception, not the rule, as far as Lionsgate is concerned, for me personally. So I don't really trust Lionsgate, and every time they get a property that I love, I start freaking out internally and externally sometimes too. For example, they said a few years ago that they were going to do the Odyssey, and I started hyperventilating because I do not trust them with the Odyssey, okay? The Odyssey is too big for Lionsgate. So when they said that they had the rights to the Power Rangers, I started freaking out. I'm like, they're going to ruin my childhood, for real. You know, I've been crapping on this movie simply due to the fact that I don't trust Lionsgate to not ruin this thing. And I've been really, for most of their marketing so far, I've been crapping on them. I was so sure that this was going to be awful. So when they started announcing the cast, I sort of felt like it was confirmed for me, because it was a bunch of unknowns. Some were YouTube stars that I'd never heard of. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. Sometimes you cast unknowns so that you can make them stars. Just ask the cast of Stranger Things, right? It also has the risk that maybe they're not that great actors in the first place. And if you're not taking your movie seriously, there's a very high chance that you just chose whoever first walked in front of you instead of actually casting the best person for the job. So I was really afraid when I heard that they were casting unknowns, small players that didn't have many roles to their names. When they cast Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa, I was like, okay, on the one hand, I'm half afraid this is going to ruin her career forever. On the other hand, she could actually be the best thing about this movie. So I was glad to see her in the cast. I was even more glad when they cast Bryan Cranston as Zordon, because Bryan Cranston is such a talent. Little by little, the movie has been moving forward, and I found myself not minding terribly. The costuming, for example, Rita looked okay. She didn't bow me over or anything. I think the lighting didn't help, but I liked the uniforms, the ranger suits. I liked those. I thought they looked pretty decent. The posters with the swords were a bit weird, but I thought, okay, I guess I'll just have to wait and see it in full. I've been very reticent about this movie, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that, guys, I'm such a Power Rangers fan. This was my entire childhood, for sure. I used to run around with my cousins, play acting that we were the Power Rangers. I was always the yellow one because two of my cousins were, they would always fight over the pink one. So I always ended up with the yellow one, not that I minded. Trini's awesome. This is a thing that really is a part of my childhood, and I wanted to see it done right. So when they announced that they were going to release a trailer at Comic-Con, I was actually quite nervous. I was like, okay, this is it. This is make or break. This is either going to make me feel relieved that the movie's in good hands, or it's going to confirm all the fears that I have about Lionsgate. And the trailer came out, and it's actually pretty damn good, I have to admit. I think it was my favorite thing out of everything that came out of Comic-Con this year. I actually really liked it. When I first posted about it on social media, I was like, it's like the Breakfast Club with giant robots. Sounds crazy, but it's actually pretty good. But what I like is it also has a little bit of a Chronicle flair, which in my book, if you're as good as Chronicle, you're golden, because Chronicle was amazing. And then it also has a little bit of a Spider-Man 1 flair. You know, when they find out about their powers, that's one thing that I really liked, is that the kids have powers even when they're out of their suits. It's very interesting, and I think it's a good addition because it gives them more drama just before they get into the suit, which I think is really cool. I like the changes they did with the characters. I love that Trini, like, I already know that Trini has all the attitude in the world, and I love her already. The casting seems fine, as far as I know. The only thing that I'm a little bit worried about is that Kimberly, or Naomi Scott, I think is her name, she kind of has the same smirky expression throughout the whole trailer, which kind of made me a bit nervous. I hope that she has more range than that. I'll be keeping an eye on her, but I'm actually really excited about this movie now. It actually looks really good. I've been watching trailer reactions on YouTube for the past couple of days, and it's all been amazing, like how much people actually really like this trailer. And I'm still not 100% sold on Lionsgate, but I think maybe this could be their second Hunger Games, in the sense that this could be one property that they are really taking seriously, and maybe it might turn out to be good. Now, don't get me wrong, it's just one trailer, so the movie might still suck. I still remember how much I loved the Fantastic Four trailers, and we all know how that turned out. I'm not saying that the movie is going to be amazing. I'm saying the trailer did what it's supposed to do, and that is get me excited about this movie. I think they managed the tone right while still having some levity to it. I loved Billy jumping. I loved, again, Trini's attitude. I think it's going to be an interesting movie, and I can't wait to see it. I know that a lot of people on YouTube have been complaining that we didn't get to see Bryan Cranston, and we didn't get to see Alpha 5, and we didn't get to see the full costume or the swords, and I'm like, dude, it's a teaser trailer. Really? Did you really expect to see the swords? This movie comes out in March, so I'm not expecting any swords action until next year, really, because it's very special effects heavy, so they're going to do that late in post-production, I'm sure. And I know that we'll see Zordon eventually, probably in the next trailer or something, but you can't really expect to see Zordon in the first trailer, which is a teaser trailer, so chill, people. Chill. All I have to say is that I really enjoyed that trailer, and okay, I'm sold, Lionsgate. I'm definitely going to go watch this movie. Don't ruin it. For God's sake, don't. Sincerely, my childhood. So yeah, that's about all that I got from New York City Comic Con last week, which of course I didn't attend because I fail like that, maybe someday. Maybe someday I will go to a convention. Things that happen to me because I live in freaking Narnia. That's about it for today. I don't know yet what I'm going to talk about next week. I still have that Game of Thrones video pending. I know I haven't finished watching it. I suck. I am aware of it. Someday it'll get done. As usual, if you guys want to suggest to me any topics that you want me to talk about, feel free to drop them in a comment below. I welcome any sort of geeky topic, be it from TV, books, movies, anything like that. If I know anything about it, I'll make sure to add it to my list of videos to make in the future, so please do suggest it. If you like my video, give me a thumbs up. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel. I am so happy every time I get one view, every time I get one like, every time I get one subscription. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for watching my videos. In the meantime, you can find me on social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram at girlsoweird with underscores between the words, and I am on Tumblr at girlsoweird with hyphens between the words. You can find a Facebook page for this vlog at facebook.com/FreakingNarnia. And as usual, you can visit my main website at FreakingNarnia.com. All my videos are there, so if you want to catch up, be sure to stop by and browse around. I also have a Redbubble stuff. You can find the URL down in the description below. I make typography art with quotes from my favorite TV shows, movies, books, any sort of stuff like that. So if you're into that, be sure to check it out. You can use the art on all kinds of merch like cups, laptop covers, handkerchiefs, all sorts of things. So stop by and please do purchase something if you're in the mood. That's it for me today. I will see you guys next week with another video from all the way in freaking Narnia. It's morphing time! I probably don't think it will. Seriously, I'm like so yeah. As usual, you can visit my be sure to and that's all.